welcome. Today I thought it would be fun to do some quick fall craft. Fall's coming, my favorite time of year, so I thought we would just go ahead and get started because I can't wait. I don't know about you. So I thought we could make a quick, simple, easy craft. These little vases. All you need are some wooden beads, and they can really be any size that you want. And if you get them from a thrift store, these are like macrame beads. They're fairly large, but I still think they work for the Barbie size. If you get them from a thrift store or something, you can usually find a ton of these. They might be varnished, so I would just recommend that you sand the varnish very lightly with a fine grit sandpaper just to get rid of the shine, because then your paint won't stick. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a bead or beads. You're going to need some artificial greenery in whatever colors you want. I just randomly get these from the Dollar Tree or Walmart, Hobby Lobby, whatever you have in your area. Just go see. I had these miniature sunflowers from Dollar Tree from a couple of years ago, and just some more random greenery I found somewhere. Some paint brushes. You can either use black paint or a Sharpie. I like a Sharpie because they have more control. Some paper. You can use hot glue. You can use E6000. You can use Fabri-Tac. Whatever. You can even use white glue. It just takes a very long time to dry, and it might not be as lasting a bond as something like E6000 or hot glue. And then you'll need some paint. Now I've got some brown, and I've got it's called pumpkin orange. That'll tell you where we're going. Obviously, something like a rag or some paper towels to help with the paint. And so I'm going to fill a little cup with some water, and then we'll come back and get started on our craft. In case you're wondering, this is a 2012 Fashionistas Teresa doll. So, yeah, she's one of the OGs. Okay, so you can use anything for a palette. I just had these old paper plates lying around. As you can see, I was doing some kind of a craft at one time and walked away, and I have no idea now what it was. Probably some kind of a wreath. So anyway, we're going to take some of our pumpkin orange, and to me, that is a touch on the bright side. So I've got a touch brown here, and we're just going to put a drop or two of our brown in. And then we're going to take our brush. We're just going to mix that up. And all that does is dull the paint down a little bit. So then we're going to take our bead and we're just going to paint it. And when you paint, you're better off to just put on several thin coats rather than try to cover everything all at once. Now, you can still see the wood grain coming through, and I don't know if that shows on camera real well, but if that's what you like, then by all means, you can leave it. Okay, to make it easier to paint, I just put this on, if you have a piece of wood or, like you can see here, a paintbrush, this will just make it a lot easier to get the paint on all around, all the way. Okay, so we're just going to continue. We're going to set this one aside to dry, first coat, and we're going to go ahead and get the tall one painted up. Okay, so our vases are just about dry. I did paint the top rim of the tall vase just in case it shows. It's not likely that it will. So here we go. So the next step is we're going to attach a little bit of paper to the bottom. Now we could have done this in the first place before we started painting, and that probably would have made more sense, but I'm a fly by the pants kind of gal, so I'm just white glue, hot glue, whatever works for you. I'm just going to put a mess of glue on this bottom edge here. Press our piece of paper onto the bottom, and we're going to set that aside to dry. Now here's this one with 4 coats. So we're going to do the paper bottom to both of our pieces. Not only is it going to help them stand a little better, and we're going to trim that down. Not only will it help them stand up a little better, but it's going to prevent glue or from falling out the bottom. So it's just going to help seal it up. So We'll be right back. Okay, so these have been set to dry for about 15 minutes, so paper's on there pretty good. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a pair of scissors and you're going to get as close as you can, and you're just going to cut around the base. There. So now the bottom is all closed up, and we'll probably go ahead and touch this up with some paint. But it's not really going to show, so it's up to you whether you paint it or not. Okay, so another thing that you can do if you want to really get into the fall theme is I put a touch of brown paint, and I'm going to get my brush wet, and it's a very fine pointed brush. A lot of people will use nail art brushes. This is just a cheapie from Walmart. And I am going to put just simple line, like so. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm going to do it, I'm just going to evenly space it around my little vase. And we're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so here's our tall vase. I decided not to do the lines on this one. It's up to you entirely. So for this, I thought we would just have a little bit of fun. I mean, this is for fall, so got a Sharpie here, and I thought it might be cute to just draw on my little spooky face. Halloween is coming, and then I just color it in. And I use a Sharpie just because I have better control than I would with a paintbrush. And it stays on pretty good. So let's color in our little guy. And there we go. You got a spooky face. And you know, you can use this all season. It doesn't have to be for Halloween, and when it's not Halloween, you just turn him around and nobody's the wiser. And then you turn him back around and boo! Jump scare. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the little round guy out, and let's go ahead and put a spooky face on him. So you could argue this turned out looking a little like a basketball. Yeah, now I can't unsee it either. Okay, so he's going to have just one little tooth left. He ate way too much candy. So then we're just going to color in. Ta-da! And now, same thing. When it's not Halloween, you can just flip it around and use the other side as just a vase. So let's get the greenery in these guys. Okay, so for the tall one, I've chosen some sunflowers and this greenery. Now these greeneries, you could sometimes find them at places like Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joann's. On I call them flats. I'm not sure what they are, but they're just about, you know, they're square, and they have little prongs on them, and the greenery's just stuck on it. And so you get this entire mat of greenery, and then you just pull it off, and you have these little pieces that you can use for anything. So I'm going to go ahead, and you can choose to glue them in or not. So I'm going to go ahead and put this, and let's see, let's just put this guy right here, like so. And I'm going to put the other one, I mean, it's wherever you think it'll look best. So here we are. It's got little, my Mickey Mouse ears going on. But there you go, for the first one. And you can choose to glue this in permanently, or you can leave it loose so you can change it out for the seasons. So for this little guy, And to do that, you can just fill the top with glue, or you can put something like a little bit of tissue down in there and then fill it with glue, and then you just push your greenery in, and it should stay permanently. So I don't know how well you can see it, but for this little guy, I filled it up about halfway with just some tissue. Doesn't need to be a whole lot. And then I'm just gonna take my glue and just fill it up, not all the way to the top. So there's a good amount in there, and probably about halfway up from there. And now with our glue in place, we're going to set in our greenery, like so. Now these might be a little long, so we're just going to take our scissors and we're just going to cut them down. And we're going to set that in there like so. So this one will be permanent. And so you want to make sure that you arrange them to your satisfaction. Okay, so there he is, looking all ready for the autumn season. There we go. So this is the one that's not glued in. It's our tall guy. And you can rearrange this one because this one's loose. You can rearrange it however you want. And then here's our little guy who is permanently glued in place. And truth be told, with hot glue, you can just probably rip this greenery right out and restyle him anyway if you wanted to. So that is our little autumn quick craft. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.